future. In the future. So now when you're a cat with a history proven of making all the right moves, right? Where every move that you've ever made in my life has improved my life and the life of those around you. You seem like godly, cause shit, bro.
Yeah.
You're not still like caught up on your past, or you're not worried about the future. Everything you do today seems to be to So then, in my mind, you must be so connected with God that you're a representation of God in the flesh.
Yeah.
So then it means, whatever you're doing is godly. So if I, as a human being, I no longer have to think, what does Ra have to do? I just have to do what viewer is doing. Or even if viewer is not there, ask myself, what would viewer do?
But which is it now? Because it can't be both.
Both how?
Is it like or maybe it can be both? Is it a bunch of myths that were amalgamated to fashion a fictitious man, or was there a man in the flesh who was just so dope with his flesh that he was elevated to God's status?
See, if you study history, right, human history, and once you accept that human nature is the same from the beginning till now, and will continue to be the same, right? Once we accept human nature as the block, right, then you realize that from as far back as ancient Egypt, there were guys like Imhotep in a society that believed royalty, right? The same way that they do in England, or if you're a king, you're like God.
Succession,
you were sent down by God, or your family was sent down by God to lead the people, right? So from as far back as ancient Egypt, you had people like Imhotep who displayed such a knowledge of themselves, the world, and human nature, most importantly, that they seemed godly. Because they could, apparently, like even in ancient Egypt, some of the shit that the pharaohs did was just trickery, right? What a pharaoh would do was, because people would wonder how much rain are we going to have in the next year, like existential worries, or if I'm going to be alive next year, am I going to have enough rain for my crops, right? So what these, and this is what all it is people who know more automatically get attached to godliness, right? So what the pharaohs would do, and then they pass it down in their families as family knowledge, and that's why they would make it seem as if your family is more blessed. Can't you know? An ancestor of yours figured out, while it's the rainy season and the rivers fill up, I just need to mark on how far did the rivers fill up this year, right? And then
you can predict.
And then I study the rains, and then I predict. But what I do is I tell everyone that we're gonna have this much rain this year, right? And once I'm proven to be truthful, now I'm a God. I have God knowledge. I know when it's gonna rain and how much it's gonna rain. And now you're talking about how many years ago, and human nature is like we're credulous people. Like that's why we still respond to magic. We want answers that are
supernatural.
Exactly. So now when you have a totally natural answer, but you present it as supernatural, now you get put into the supernatural realm. So what I'm saying is, a Jesus might have existed, another Imhotep, another Pharaoh, somebody who studied human nature, the natural world, themselves, and found a way to present it as if they're the all-knowing. And isn't that how people describe God? The all-knowing, the all-seeing. So when you have someone in your community, in your society, before the information age, who seems to know everything about everything,
God,
who is he, bro? He's God. So there might have been a Jewish cat named Jesus, and all he was an Imhotep of his time. He's just somebody who studied the laws of nature, human nature, the laws of himself, and presented it in such a way that he seemed to know everything, and that's why people will put him up on the pedestal. But what I was saying was, it always goes